The bioorganic combine war machines known as Synths in Half-Life 2 are an iconic part of the game. But did you know that during Half-Life 2's development, there were other numerous synths that did not make it into the final game? In today's video, I will be explaining these cut synths, what their purpose would have been to the Combine in-game, and what their concept morphed into in the retail version of Half-Life 2. The attack synth is a large biomechanically engineered organism. It has 9 sensory organs on its forward-facing surface and has 3 weapon barrels on each side. Whether these barrels were intended for missiles or other weaponry is unknown. Its thick legs would have made it as tall as the Strider, with the claws at its foot supporting the weight of the synth, with the addition of armor. The attack synth would have been the Combine's main heavy assault unit, but with it being very similar to the Strider in terms of size, it's safe to say that the attack synth was the fatter predecessor. Going from big to really small, the assault synth is a spider-like organism, fitted with a pulse cannon on its front and being the size of a head crab. Judging by early concept art, the assault synth would have fought alongside the crab synth, swarming and distracting enemy forces long enough for the crab synth to get close and shred them with its Gatling gun. The Synth Soldier is a human-sized, grotesque-looking organism. It is very agile and with it bearing similarities with the human anatomy by having 2 hands and 2 legs. It could wield small arms and would have been the Combine's foot soldier and main infantry unit as well as being the occupying force on Earth. But that role would instead be handed over to Overwatch. While unconfirmed, these Synth soldiers could have been the initial invading Combine infantry force in the 7-hour war and garrisoned on Earth until the eventual establishment of Overwatch. The Combine Super Soldier is a more heavily armored and cybernetically engineered version of the Synth Soldier. Its upper body resembles quite similarly to the head of the Strider, and also would have featured a similar armament too, like the warp cannon. These super soldiers would have been used to guard the interior of the Citadel, but they were ultimately scrapped and replaced by the Overwatch Elite Soldier. Similar theory to the Synth Soldier, these units would have been used by the Combine during the initial invasion of Earth and serviced somewhere else once Overwatch was established. The Combine Guard is a heavily armored synth-human hybrid. Its body armor is painted green, and its human face is exposed and also has some sort of breathing device. It would have wielded a heavy weapon that fires a disintegration beam similar to that of the Strider's warp cannon. Despite its armament, the Combine Guard would have been very agile and be able to ram down doors. The Combine Guard would have served as a guard unit in special Combine facilities, but the idea was scrapped and the heavy weapon that the Combine Guard wielded would be recycled for the Strider. The Cremator is also known as the Combine Janitor. It is a tall, humanoid-like being that wears a dark green robe with its belly exposed. Its main job was to clean up dead bodies from the streets of occupied cities by using the Immolator, a flamethrower-like weapon that uses a corrosive substance to disintegrate organic matter. Although the synth did not make it into the final game as a fightable synth, remnants of its concept can be found in a jar in Eli's lab. The Combine Mobile Mine is a small bioorganic organism that has a white shell to protect it from bullets. There is nearly no info about the mine, but judging by its name, it would have been a kamikaze-style unit, where it would seek out enemy forces and detonate once near enough. I assume that this concept eventually morphed into the roller mine, which has a similar premise, where it would seek out an enemy and use its attack once close enough. Similar to the city scanner, the Wasteland Scanner stems from the early idea of the recon synth concept. It would have been used by the Combine to patrol the outskirts of cities and desolate wastelands even further away in search of fleeing refugees or resistance forces. Its armament includes a grenade launcher on its left side and 3 powerful lasers on its right side. Unfortunately for this scanner, it was ultimately cut and the shield scanner would take its place. The Sacktick is a small parasite-like synth. It would seek out organic hosts, attach onto and feed off of its host. If left unchecked, the Sacktick would be able to rapidly multiply in enemy strongholds, severely weakening enemy forces and leaving them vulnerable to larger assaults. The Combine's way of delivery of the Sacktick was with missile-like pods that would be launched from a distance. In the end, the missile pods were the only thing that made it into the final game, with the Sackticks inside being replaced with headcrabs.